Hello, superhumans. Alyssa Prettyman here, and this is a 10-minute fun and fancy foot rollout. Say that 5 times fast, will you? Okay, so for this fun and fancy foot rollout, I have a single ball. This is about the size of a tennis ball. This is a yoga tune-up therapy ball. I like it a little bit better because it's rubbery and squishy, and feels more like a human-to-human massage as opposed to like a strange um, fuzzy tennis ball thing. So we're going to do a technique that I call the 3 and 3 grid. Instead of just scrolling up and down the foot, we can do that towards the end. We're going to try something that's a little bit more detailed and perhaps a little bit more helpful for the foot itself. Start by placing the ball under the ball of your foot. You can see I have my heel down because it gives me a little extra stretch for the calf and Achilles. And all I'm going to do is put pressure on and pressure off. Pressure on and pressure off. So this first technique we're calling push and release. Push and release. And we're just looking at the foot to see, is the foot responsive to this strangely shaped object underneath it? We're used to walking on flat surfaces. This is unique for the mechanical world that we live in these days. Flat roads, flat floors. Is the foot responsive? Responsiveness is a good thing. It helps us absorb shock. Okay, let's try the middle of the foot. So I've moved the ball now from the ball of my foot to the arch or the center area of the foot, and I'm just pushing and releasing. I could have my hands on my hips. I could put my hands on a wall or a table if I was worried about balance. And I don't have to push super hard. I want to make sure all the sensation that I feel is breathable and delicious. Okay, you can push a little towards the pinky toe side or the big toe side. And then let's shift up to the heel. I'm just going to push and release here. Now, pushing and releasing, I can do what I call the angry mom stamp. Pick up your Legos. You can yell if it makes you feel more connected to the movement. Or you can let the arms hang and kind of bounce. You'll see this in Qigong, Tai Chi sometimes, where there's just this bouncing, this shaking, this kind of loosening of the stuck stuff. So if that feels good, particularly with this type of ball, you can bounce on it a little bit too. Okay, so that's technique 1, push and release. We've done it in the ball of the foot, the arch of the foot, and the heel. So let's do technique 2. Come back to the ball of the foot. Technique 2 is side to side. So we're going to put the ball under the ball of the foot, lean some pressure on, and slowly drag the ball side to side. Imagine you were trying to spread the bottom of your foot wider left to right. And notice it's a slightly different sensory experience than just pushing and releasing. Okay. Let's try this in the arch of the foot. Usually a little bit more sensitive here. So push down, drag left to right. And then let's try that on the heel. So put a little pressure on and swipe the heel left to right. Okay, so that's our second technique. That is side to side. And again, we did it in the same 3 zones: ball, arch, heel. Okay, the last technique that we use is to just twist. So I'm going to pick up my foot and I'm going to imagine that I'm trying to screw the ball into the ground. So the heel is off the ground now, and I'm just turning my leg so that the foot spins around the ball, and I'm smushing it down while I do this. I can feel the skin on the underside of my foot sort of twisting as though I were twisting a piece of cloth, right? Or twisting my shirt. Okay. So those are our three primary techniques. Push and release, side to side, and spin. Now, just for fun, peel back the toes. If you can get 1, 2, 3 at a time, this is kind of going to depend on your unique foot, your foot situation, your foot situation. Really good to do if you wear a lot of flip-flops. These muscles tend to clamp down to hold it onto your foot and can get a little bit sticky. Now that you've done all that, if you want to go up and down a couple times, by all means. But really take your time and notice, is there a sticky zone that needs a little bit more time and patience, right? Could I pause and breathe if there was an area that felt a little bit spicy? Okay. Take a moment after you've done the first foot to just stand. Stand in a neutral position, make sure the knees aren't locked, and just feel the undersides of each of your feet. Now, not only is this work really great for balance poses in yoga or balance in general, but it can be really great for people who love to walk and run and hike and do things that require shock absorption in the body, higher impact athleticism. All right, put the ball under the ball of the other foot. Let's go through these techniques on the other side. Push and release. I have my heel on the ground, right? Because that helps me get a little bit of extra calf lengthening. Always a good thing. Bring the ball into the arch of your foot. Pushing and releasing. Remember that I can push towards the big toe side or the pinky toe side of my foot. And it's going to feel slightly different in all these different zones. And then I'm going to push and release on the heel. Remember that our techniques are angry mom stamp. Sometimes I'll lift and lower both heels too. Or you can kind of soften the arms and just bounce on it, and it feels silly, but that's okay because you're doing this in the privacy of your own home, so you don't have to worry what you look like. So pushing and releasing in and around the heel. Okay? Next technique, after push and release, we have side to side. So bring the ball back onto the ball of your foot. See if you can keep the heel down. And just drag the ball side to side. Again, like you're spreading the bottom of your foot wider. The whole time we ball roll, we take steady, smooth cycles of breath. We breathe in a way that tells our brain we are okay. Bring the ball under the arch of the foot, go side to side. This area is a little bit more sensitive, right? So maybe there's a tiny bit less pressure under the arch of the foot if it gets a little youchy. It's a very technical term, youchy. Come onto the heel, apply a little bit of pressure, drag side to side. People with plantar fasciitis, go carefully here. If you're in active pain, you don't have to roll on that zone right by the heel. That tends to be a kind of a sweet spot for plantar fasciitis. Just roll around it. Roll where you can comfortably roll and breathe. And you may find some relief with this sequence as well. Okay, anywhere on the foot, push down and twist. Screw that ball down into the ground. You can move it around. And again, visualize what's happening to the tissues is what would be happening if you put a fork into the middle of a flat dinner napkin and just started turning, right? Just feel that twisting of the top layer of tissues. And then peel back the toes a couple at a time. Oh yeah, this side's a little crankier than the other side. Are you noticing differences between lefts and rights? Don't worry, there are tons of other ball rolling videos you can do here. And sometimes we can feel it pretty profoundly in the feet. And then, what everybody's been waiting for, The opportunity to scroll up and down the bottom of the feet. I get asked often, are there any rolling techniques that you would do every day? And myself and people that study this methodology would almost always say the feet. The feet, the feet, the feet. The feet are not designed to be closed in shoes and walk on only flat surfaces. And doing that limits their diet of movement and makes them less able to absorb shock, which influences the knees, the hips, and the low back. So, if there was one thing that I would convince you to do every day, it would be to roll your feet. So, that's the end of our foot rolling video. Um, my name is Alyssa Prettyman. Thank you so much for rocking and rolling with me today. Check out my other videos, and if you have requests, reach out to Breathe Together and let us know. Thanks so much.